All right, I have a little bit of a different take on this because I'm just going to be honest. I'm kind of sick of the way people report injuries. I don't agree with it. I don't understand it. And I think often it's almost misleading. Now, the teams know what's going on, but the fans don't. So I'm going to fix that right now. The Detroit Lions get good and bad news leading into their game against the Chicago Bears. So we are going to look at that. And in this article, you can see who's been ruled out. It's only 2 players, but it's only 2 players, and that's part of why I'm upset about it. So Frank Ragnow has been ruled out. Hendon Hooker, still out. That doesn't hurt. So when you look at our injury report, you just think to yourself, nice, right? Like, this is awesome. Like, we only have 1 injured player, and that's the good news. And the other good news is that Alex Anzalone, who had by far his best game of the season the last time we played the Bears, dude was everywhere, he's back. And he's back faster than any of us expected. So that is a lot of good news coming in. Frank Ragnow, that's a big blow. But you expect, if Frank Ragnow is your starting center, you honest to goodness expect Frank to miss a few games, or at least by the back half of the season to be so banged up that when he's playing, he's only like 85% of himself. Now, 85% of Frank is a lot better than 85% of Frank is better than about 85% of the rest of the starting centers in this league. So yeah, that's okay. But he's not going to be able to give it a go for this one. So let's look at the full injury report for both teams, if I can do that. Let me just do that for a second. So the 2 players that are out are Hooker and Ragnow, which, again, we've said is only 1. Malcolm Rodriguez and Alex Anzalone are questionable and unspecified. Here's the deal. Alex Anzalone was a full practice all 3 days. He's playing. That's the way it goes. Malcolm Rodriguez with his ankle, the fact that he got a limited practice in each day is good, but also not as important because Jalen Reeves-Maybin stepped in, played really well last week when Anzalone was gone. And yes, I understand Rodriguez will be missed, but if he's pretty healthy, he'll be able to play in a limited role, a limited participant in the game too. Here's where things start to get rough, and I'm going to also tell you why we don't actually just have 2 players hurt. This drives me absolutely bonkers. So make sure you hang on for that. All right, Yannick Ngakoue is questionable. He's going to play. I think he got a rest day on Wednesday. He had a limited practice Thursday, full practice on Friday. You get a full practice in, you're playing. It's almost guaranteed. The St. Brown brothers, it's not going to be a battle of the St. Brown brothers. Parents are going to be cheering for the Lions because Equiminius is out. That's it for them. All right. Now, I could see Velus Jones. He probably won't. He's sick, so he may or may not play. Tyler Scott. Also, who cares? Like, who cares if those players are playing? Velus Jones has done almost nothing. Tyler Scott, I think, has done nothing. So it doesn't matter. But here's the thing. We can sit here and say that they have 1 player out and then a couple of questionables. We have 2 players out and a questionable. But that's not the story. Because when you look at our depth chart and you start looking at it, you realize that there are players who would be starters for us or would play regularly that are on IR. So let's start counting. All right, we already know we have Frank. We're not going to count him as the out. And we have Hooker. We're not going to count that. But Jason Kambinda would play every single game. All right? Vati Vaitai, Helipului Vati Vaitai, every single game he would be playing. I'm not going to count Matt Nelson. Aleem McNeil is out on IR. Every single game he would be playing. James Houston is still on IR. Every single game he would be playing. You see what I'm doing here? CJ Gardner-Johnson. Every game he would be playing still on IR. Emmanuel Mosley. All right? Every single game he would be playing, he's on IR. The number is 6, not even including Frank Ragnow. So you add Frank Ragnow to that, we have 7 starters, or at least starter equivalent players out. That's a third of our starting lineup is out. Let's stop acting like we have 1 injury. Let's look at the Chicago Bears. Joe Reed, wide receiver. Who cares? Doesn't play. He doesn't play. Equiminius St. Brown, that's a starter. He's out. That's 1. That's it. There's no players on IR. They have a kick returner that's questionable in Tyler Scott. We talked about Velus Jones. Like, it is what it is. Like, it's not that big of a deal. How often do we kick return anyway? Well, in a game with, in the elements, there might actually be some kick returns. So this is the frustration that I start to have. You'll hear articles will be written. You won't hear articles. They're written. You will read them. Okay. But articles will be written. Both teams pretty healthy going in. Lions have 2 players out. Bears 1. Not true. The Lions have 7 players out and the Bears have 1, like, that are ruled out for this game because the IR's there. I don't remember this in years past, but I don't understand why all of a sudden we just act like IR isn't injured and they're not gone. Like, Mosley is gone. Jerry Jacobs fits this defense. I think he plays well in the Aaron Glenn system, but he is not good enough to be an everyday starter. He should be, spelling players. He should be getting in every once in a while. He should be a special teamer. He should be doing things like that. He should not be the starter. All right? Tracy Walker, Kirby Joseph, whatever you want to say, neither of them have been spectacular this year, but I'll tell you who would have been is C.J. Gardner-Johnson. He'd be spectacular this year. All right? On the inside, if Graham Glasgow moves from guard to center to replace Frank Ragnow, that's a slight loss. But when Vitai's also out, now Colby Sorsdahl has to come in and play, and that's a big loss. When you don't have certain players like Jason Kabinda, and now all of a sudden, if you want to bring, I don't know if you saw this in the last game, for a couple games now, it's either been Malcolm Rodriguez playing fullback, or they have lined up Sam Laporta. There's not supposed to be a thumbs up. You were wrong. All right, that's automatic. I don't know why it does it. I was just making a point. All right, but we had Sam Laporta playing fullback for a while. And you could tell that was one thing he didn't do extremely well. Like, he isn't laying the wood as a fullback like Jason Kabinda would. No pun intended there. Would. All right, but anyways, like, this is what I'm saying. It's not the same. And so when people are like, oh man, last year and this year, like, why are the Lions not playing as well? Because they don't have as many injuries as they did early in the year. And we said the same thing last year, but then when we started getting healthy, we started winning games. But the fact is, we're not healthy. We're not. And yes, we're hoping that C.J. Gardner-Johnson could come back for a late regular season and a playoff push. We're hopeful that James Houston off a broken fibula can come back late regular season and for a playoff push. All right? I don't know about Vaitai. All right? And and we're hopeful with the Lee McNeil with the knee sprain can be back after a month for the last regular season game maybe and the playoffs. So we are banged up. Don't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We went out and got a 36-year-old, almost 37-year-old defensive tackle. We got a 36 or 37-year-old defensive end. Like, it's not great as far as all that is concerned. So let's not act like we don't have injury issues, because we do. We absolutely do. All right. I don't know. That's all I got. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? I don't know. I got another video that we put out today. Make sure you check it out. Don't believe the lies. Jared Goff isn't a bad cold weather quarterback. Check it out. Don't believe the lies. And if you're here and you're still watching this video, subscribe and like us. Go follow us on Twitter too. All right. See ya.